What's going on? Happy Monday night. Welcome to an all-new edition of Chips and Dish here on the All About the Birds Network. We do this every single Monday night. I try to keep the time somewhat consistent, but with umpiring and kids and whatnot, 9 o'clock seems to be a time we're settling into. I am joined tonight by Johnny Uleka, Johnny U9322, and Jason Voorhees at Mustaine3651. I am going to try to be calm. I'm going to try to be composed. I'm going to try to not yell. But you guys, I'm going to be really honest. I'm fucking pissed off. I am mad. I am angry. I am embarrassed. I am fed up with this. It is officially 9 o'clock, so I don't have a problem cursing. It is now going to be explicit on Apple Podcasts because within the first 2 minutes, I said an F word. Richard, good evening. Adam, we're going to talk a lot about Ben Simmons. Richard, it was pick your poison, Simmons and Harden. Yeah, neither of them. Neither of them. So here's how I want to start this. The gentlemen, first off, welcome. Hello. Thank you both for joining me. Your job tonight is to make sure that I don't absolutely lose my shit over the internet. Good luck.
I like when you lose your shit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I kind of like it too.
That kind of makes the show fun.
And you know, the funny thing is, the funny thing is watching that video and watching the two dunks that Daryl Dawkins smashed in the rim. It's great because there was a guy last night that could have dunked the ball, not smashed the rim, but could have dunked the ball when he had it wide open and decided to pass it. Go ahead. I set you up there. I laid a little alley-oop.
Maddie, what's going on? How are you? Good to see you. What faith? What faith? What faith? What?
He's ready.
Let's pay some bills really quickly. That way our sponsors can all cancel us after I absolutely lose my ever-loving shit on these teams. So, first off, big shout-out to Statement Games, a fun, free twist on fantasy sports. A fantasy that the Sixers could win the goddamn finals. Moving on. OddsJam. Use oddsjam.com using their arbitrage calculator to not lose money. You lose money the second you sign Ben Simmons. All right, moving the fuck on. All right, aatbirds.com/shop. We have all of our designs, including Playoff Maxi or Playoff Maxed Out at this point because they're not in the fucking playoffs anymore. Moving the fuck on. All right, 99jersey.com is now partnered with AAT Birds. Use the code AATBirds20 for a 20% discount at checkout. I would like a 20% discount on whatever the fuck we're paying Ben Simmons to not shoot the goddamn ball. Manscaped.com is partnered with AAT Birds. Use the code AATBirds for 20% off and free shipping at checkout. I would like to check out of this goddamn Sixers team. You guys, I'm done with Ben Simmons. I am done. I'm done with Ben Simmons. I think So one of the things for me, and you guys can and tell me how you feel about the thinking here. You do not have the ability to expect that Ben Simmons during the Hawks playoff series was going to change everything that he has ever done offensively on a basketball court, right? So for all of us delusional who are like, oh, well, Ben Simmons should get 15 points a game. Ben Simmons should get 20 points a game. He should get a triple-double game. And I'm guilty of it too. Tonight's the night Ben Simmons is going to hit his free throws. Tonight's the night Ben Simmons is going to take jump shots. Here's the problem with that. He hasn't done it all season. And when do you improve your skill set? In the offseason, right? You improve your skill set in the offseason. Ben Simmons blessed us with some wonderful workout videos and some wonderful jump shooting videos. Turns out we're all fucking fooled. We got the wool pulled over our eyes because Ben Simmons regressed so drastically this season offensively that at this point, bringing him back would be a slap in the face of every single Sixers fan. Your thoughts? Jason, you can go first.
I mean, you kind of nailed it. The only thing that I will say is that the way that he performed in this particular series, especially, was probably the worst stretch of basketball I ever seen him play in his career in the NBA. Part of me is wondering if he had even just shown up the way that he was in the regular season, could we have possibly won the series? Because he played so bad and so pitiful. It was like almost like you said he regressed, but it's almost like he regressed again in this series.
He did. He 100% did. And the thing that killed me the most, and again, my wife is army crawling through here because I have peanut M&Ms in the vicinity. Shout out to peanut M&Ms. I love a sponsorship. She said something to me, and I am now going to refer to it this way for the rest of time. So what do you get, right? Ben Simmons has been compared to which famous Lakers point guard so many times in his career?
Magic
Johnson. Well, what is Magic Johnson without the magic? I'll tell you what it is. Ben Simmons, from now on, will be referred to as Tragic Johnson because he is fucking terrible.
I love it.
The funny thing is, Ben Simmons was, during the playoff series, was, hitting, other girls' DMs. He can't shoot on the court. How is he going to shoot off the court?
Right, and Johnny, you're having some sort of technical difficulties over there, I think. Hold on. Either that or my headphones just dipped out. Keep going. Switch gears right quick. Are we back?
All right. So, the one thing with Ben Simmons, his playoff career, Jason, you mentioned
live on air stuff.
You mentioned him this year, and you wish he could have played the regular season the way he played the playoffs. And
hold on, gotta fix some stuff on the live broadcast.
All right. How about now? Can you hear me at least?
I can hear you.
I hear you, yeah.
All right, cool. Am I doing the echo thing again? I got to turn off my other microphone.
I think you're good.
All right, neat. So, Johnny, you were saying he was sliding into girls' DMs. Did you get a chance to finish your point before my shit all crapped out on me, Tragic Johnson style?
No, I just said, the only thing I said was, he can't shoot a shot on the court. I don't know how he's going to shoot a shot off the court. That's what I was kind of getting at.
Yeah, well, and you're right.
And the thing that, like I was talking before, that Jason mentioned about his regular season. If he could have brought what he did in the regular season to the playoffs, and Ben Simmons' playoff career, I posted earlier today, 34 games, 13.9 points per game, 8.1 rebounds per game, 7.5 assists per game, 52% free throw percentage. But then you look a little deeper. The numbers look up, but then you have to dig a little bit deeper. 3.2 feet is his average shot distance.
Oh, my God. And it's so funny because we talked about this. Yeah, go ahead.
57% made field goal percentage. That was his field goal percentage. 68% from 0 to 3 feet was made. 38% from 3 to 10 and 38% from 10 to 16. So it shows you right there.
Right. But we talked about this on one of the shows, how he went from will he or won't he shoot a three-pointer to he won't even look at the rim anymore. He refused to shoot the ball. And he chose not to take an open dunk. That's a 1-point swing because you're trusting on free throws, which again, with here's the telltale sign, right? Ben Simmons, who's usually good for double digits rebounds in a game, had 8 rebounds last night. Ben Simmons, who's usually good, even if it's the hack or whatever, because he's driving with the ball, he took 2 free throws last night. He was so offensively checked out that it was offensive. It was offensive how little he gave a damn. And I'm not pinning the blame on one, because again, Doc Rivers was outcoached, but here's the thing. Doc Rivers is not going anywhere. You're not firing a coach that just led you to the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Yes, it was a colossal meltdown, but you're not firing him. You're not firing him. You're going to lose Sam Cassell because he's going to get a head coaching job somewhere, but you're not going to fire Doc Rivers. Now, Ben Simmons is another story. Ben Simmons is being paid an obscene amount of money to be a really good defender. Look at Gary Payton was an elite defender. He still scored. Draymond Green, good defender, still scores. If you're looking for an elite defender to only play defense, then you can bring in a guy like Patrick Beverley for a quarter of the money. I'm tired of this. He's an athlete. He's this, he's that. He's an offensive liability. Jason, go ahead. I feel like Jason had something to say on that.
I mean, I agree. And honestly, you're paying the man as he's actually making more than Embiid. He's basically your highest paid player. And if that's what you're paying for somebody to just play defense, I think there's a problem, because I don't see anywhere else in the NBA where a player gets paid that much to only play defense and not put anything out in the offensive realm. Nowhere. Not one NBA player.
How many times did he cross over half court and then immediately gave the ball to Seth Curry? And not like a, hey, opening pass kind of thing where you pass the ball and you get some separation. We're talking handoffs. And then he went and hit in the corner like a little baby back bitch. I'm tired of Ben Simmons with the basketball.
Well, you said about him not giving a damn. Well, he didn't give a damn on the court, and then he proceeded to go into his interview and basically showed once again that he doesn't give a damn by what he said, saying, that's who I am. That it is what it is. Dude, I mean, really? You played the worst basketball that I could have possibly ever seen, and that's the way that you come out? Yeah, I agree, man. I'm pissed off. And I mean, honestly, I probably was in about 50 Twitter wars this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm one of Ben Simmons' biggest fans. I mean, he was my favorite player. He is my favorite player. And I constantly defended the guy, constantly, up until even this week.
Nope.
With people that were trashing him, saying, oh, he sucks and this and that. And I always had an excuse. Well, he plays great defense. But, I mean, what I saw in this series was basically a player that has no balls. He's absolutely, totally in his own head. He's scared to play basketball.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
That's it. Johnny, what were you going to say?
So you mentioned Draymond Green, and the thing with Draymond Green is he was surrounded by the likes of, Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and all these shooters. And that's something that, maybe Ben Simmons does need to change the scenery. Maybe he needs to go to a team that he isn't the guy or the second guy, or, a guy that he can, be, what his offense is, or he could be a guy that can be not a role player, but somebody that can play good defense, get rebounds, make assists, do that kind of stuff, but not be the guy in and out and be relied on to score. Because the other part of this is you look at Joel Embiid, and when have you had a big man win a championship basically by himself? It doesn't happen. If you look in history, you have Kareem had Magic. Hakeem had Clyde Drexler. You have guys like Shaq had Kobe, then he had D Wade. You
can go all the way back and find players like Bill Russell.
Yeah,
but that
Havlicek,
whole Bob, I was saying, but that whole Celtics team was absolutely star-studded.
Yeah,
you need the inside out. You need the inside out, the yin and yang of it all. The problem is that Ben Simmons doesn't want to play offense. So where do you go from here? Because you can't. I'm sorry, you can't bring him back. And I know, and that Richard's saying, that the sad part is that the Sixers are going to help him. And how?
Wait a sec.
How?
I got to be honest with you. I got to be honest with you. I could foresee a scenario if they do say we want to try to fix him and keep him. I could see Embiid going to them and saying it's either him or me. Because you know what? Embiid should be the focal point of your team.
So Embiid last night said, I thought there was a turnaround. I thought there was a moment where we were going to turn it around when an open dunk wasn't taken, but, it didn't happen. He literally called out Ben Simmons for not taking that dunk. Doc Rivers, can you win? Can a team win a championship with Ben Simmons as point guard? I'm not sure. Was Doc Rivers' response. I'm not sure. I don't know. Now, he might have just been being flip about it all. Ben Simmons has to go. He's got to go to a team, Johnny, like you were saying, that already has help around him that does not require the offensive output. But I'm sorry, you cannot say, like Seth Curry and Joel Embiid accounted for 46% of the points. In what universe did Seth Curry turn into a legitimate superstar scoring option because Ben Simmons refused to do diddly shit? If you bring back Ben Simmons, that means you have to continue to keep Maxey on the bench. And Maxey did enough to prove that he deserves at least sixth-man minutes. At the very minimum, sixth-man minutes. Danny Green, if he comes back, great, but he was a veteran help. Tobias Harris is not going anywhere because his contract is too huge. This team has got to make a change because other teams are going to get better. The Sixers have got to move on from Ben Simmons because here's the thing. He's not changing. Even pregame, John Clark posted a video. Oh, Ben Simmons last night. Ben Simmons is working on his jump shot. He wasn't working on jump shots. He had one foot firmly planted on the ground, one leg lifted in the air, and was flicking the ball and flicking the ball. And flicking the ball. That's his little floater that he likes to do. And you know what he didn't do last night? His little floater. So I'm tired of all these practice videos. I'm tired of the pregame, I'm shooting free throws. Postgame, I'm shooting free throws. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You didn't take an open dunk on Trae Young where you could have shoveled it down his fucking throat. I'm done. Goodbye, Ben Simmons. That's how I feel.
I have a question for you, too. If the Sixers pulled the trigger on the Simmons for Harden deal, do you think this series ends differently?
Oh,
you think they win the series?
I don't know if they get as far. I don't know if they get as far because Harden had so many injury issues. So you're removing Ben Simmons and the other scoring option. At that point, you are exclusively relying on Joel Embiid, who also had injury issues. So you're relying on Tobias Harris to get you. I don't know if they get the number 1 seed. I don't know if they get, I don't know who they come across.
Do they also trade Maxey in that deal too, though?
True.
So you could possibly have lost Maxey along with Ben Simmons to get a guy like Harden. So, yeah.
Right.
I don't know how far they would have gone,
But then, okay, so in that scenario, Nat, with knowing that Simmons' trade value has probably gotten even less now,
and that's
don't you think you're going to have? Don't you think in turn you're going to have to move Maxey anyway to get anything with Simmons? So I mean, if you want to get a Dame Lillard,
the big problem is because it's in the NBA and the NFL and all these sports, right? The what have you done lately really does apply, but in basketball especially. On a national scale, Ben Simmons had the worst series I have ever seen in professional basketball. His trade value has absolutely plummeted. So a team is going to do one of two things. They're going to say, let's see how he does the first couple months of next season because regular season Ben Simmons is worth trading for. Postseason Ben Simmons now here and against the Celtics before, like postseason Ben Simmons isn't worth a pot to piss in. No team is going to trade for him the value that we need based on the output of what he just did on the court. It's not going to happen. I need it to happen because I can't watch another Sixers game with Ben Simmons slow rolling the offense.
I think it all depends on, the way you look at the NBA. The NBA is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see players down. Look, Celtics just traded for Al Horford, and they traded away a big contract. What could happen is, you could wind up seeing a big contract for a big contract. Say a team like Golden State can use a guy like Simmons, but also they have a guy like Andrew Wiggins who has a little bit of a bigger contract. You move those because Clay's coming back. Does he fit? You're going to have the way the NBA works. It's a little bit different. You can have the big contracts and a player who didn't play that well, but he's also only 25, and
he's young.
They see potential. So if you have a team like Golden State who has Clay coming back and you have Steph Curry already there, you already have talented shooters, then you can possibly see something like that. Not saying that would be the deal, but there's a bunch. And I know our co-host Phil, he posted a whole bunch of different options, different names, not the Dame and the names you usually hear, but he posted, I think it was like 8 or 9 different teams with a different player attached to it. So to me, I think he will get dealt, but the thing is, who is it going to be for? And
that's the thing.
It better be for someone that's going to be the right fit. Because if you look at this, they let Jimmy Butler go because I don't think him and Brett Brown didn't get along, and him and Ben Simmons didn't get along. So what you have is you got rid of a shot creator, a guy that could take over the closer type of personality, killer mentality.
Yes, you did.
You got rid of.
Yeah.
And you kept a guy like Ben Simmons and Brett Brown, who then Brett Brown got fired, and Ben Simmons is looking like 1 foot's out the door.
Yeah, I mean, would you much rather have a Jimmy Butler with Embiid than Simmons?
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah. In a second.
Because in that situation, right? So let's play the what-if game, right? If you have Jimmy Butler on this team, you can then condense the Danny Green, Seth Curry into one player because Jimmy Butler is already there. So say you keep Seth Curry because he's earned it. Now Matisse cracks the starting rotation to bring back that defense, and Maxey handles the ball. A starting 5 of Maxey, Seth Curry, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris. Oh, no. So Thybulle still comes off the bench. Thybulle still comes off the bench as your defender because you have Tobias Harris and you have Joel Embiid. That's a solid 6. Or you move Curry to come off the bench so that there are so many ways to do it. The problem is that when you are on offense, and you saw it the whole series, when you are on offense, Ben Simmons stood in the corner and made it a 4 versus 5 game. And nothing, it doesn't matter if it's Trae Young, Clint Capella, Kevin Huerter, who scored 27 points last night. I am so tired of bum-ass players. He's a great shooter. But bum-ass players having the game of their lives in elimination games. The Joe Juraviciuses of the world. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do this anymore. So backing up, right? Because we're going to I was thinking about this when I was getting ready for this show. And part of the issue is us, right? Part of the issue is us as fans. And hear me out on this. We as fans anoint players too quickly, especially in Philadelphia.
Fact.
Right? Carson Wentz, when he was drafted, was going to be the next greatest quarterback. Joel Embiid, the greatest big man to ever play the game. Ben Simmons, a world-class athlete that was going to get triple doubles every night. Right? We do it with Alec Bone. We do it with Carter Hart. How many times have we looked at a player in their youth, in their very, 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 very early stages of their career, and said, this player is going to be the next absolute, incredible, fantastic superstar? When in reality, that happens in the minority. Majority of athletes take multiple years to develop. That's why the second contract, right? They've played through their rookie contract. That second contract is the proving piece. That's their prime. And they use that second contract to pay for their third contract. We, as Philadelphia sports fans, anoint these players too quickly. So I'm done doing it. Jalen Hurts, you can post all the workout videos you want. Until you do something on the field, you're nothing to me. Jalen Reagor, Devonta Smith, until you do something on the field consistently, and Jason, you know we're going to have an Aaron Nola conversation in just a couple of minutes. I know you have your notes ready for it, but this is part of my issue. We anointed Aaron Nola, so now we're all upset that he's not an ace. You know what? He's not an ace. He's not an ace. Yet. If he turns into one, which has been my point all along, if he turns into one, that's great. Ben Simmons is not an NBA point guard. That is proven. That is proven. He proved it on a national scale. He has proved it over multiple playoff runs. Ben Simmons is not an NBA point guard. He is an elite NBA defender, but you can't play on one side of the court and 0% down the other end of the way. You can't do it. I am done anointing players. There was my rant, Jason. I told you I'd get one.
You just nailed it, because I agree with you 110%. I'm with you, man. I'm guilty of it as much as you. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Carter Hart, I was like, I'm still enamored with the guy, but he is young. He's still young. And with hockey goalies, it's a little different, but you're right. We just jumped to this conclusion that these guys are just going to be superstars. And the bottom line, I mean, even Markelle Fultz, I was high on him. I thought he was going to be like the next, great scorer. And, obviously, look what happened to him.
Right, but then what's not fair that we do is then we get pissed off when they don't live up to our lofty expectations. When in reality, that's not the name of the game. You have to develop. You need to be in the right situation with coaches that can develop the talent. That's why we've seen so many players go through the Eagles organization and flounder, because they haven't been developed. They've just been told, go play your spot. The Phillies, our minor league system is an absolute shambles. And then we get upset when these players get called up and they flounder here, and then they go somewhere else and they're successful.
JP Crawford.
I was waiting for you to say it, Johnny. Go ahead. Go on your JP Crawford rant. Do your thing.
JP Crawford had a nice grand slam the other night. It's just he's Gold Glover defensively. He's hitting over 280 now. He had issues hitting it the other way. It's a player.
But he's a bum, Johnny. He's a bum, right? He was a bum in Philadelphia. Therefore, he's a bum his whole career, right?
Well,
I think the issue has come, if you look, you dial it back, you look back, you have guys, let's say for the Phillies, Mike Schmidt, you have Steve Carlton, and then you go into the later years, and Scott Rowland was great, and then also you have Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley and Ryan Howard, and you have all these players, and then you look at the Eagles side, and you have guys like Randall Cunningham and Reggie White, Jerome Brown and Clyde Simmons and Eric Allen, and you have all these players, and then you look a little bit later, you have McNabb and Dawkins and Trotter, and you have those players, and then you look at the Flyer side, you have Lindros, and you have LeClaire, and you have Hextall, and you have the problem is, and then with the Sixers, of course, Moses and Dr. J and Allen Iverson, and you have all these stars, and then the problem is you don't get the number one goal is to win the championship, and the big issue with it comes in, are you really appreciating what you have? And then when the next glimpse happens, you think, because the thing happens, the Eagles won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles as the quarterback. He wasn't as talented as Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was so much more talented.
He wasn't as talented as the guy he pitched or he played against.
Yeah,
but that's your point, right? So even the Jags overpaid for him, and then the Chicago Bears overpaid for him. Why? Because he had one exceptional run of games where he turned into a massive contract. Not because that was his MO. That's because he was anointed as the savior of Philly. Go ahead, Johnny. I mean to interrupt.
No, it's just, and you look at some of these careers, and
Adam's filling it up. I love it.
You have the what ifs, which Pavetta's, I think, actually been struggling after the whole sticky substance.
I mean,
The
Freddie
whole Boston pitching
Galvis.
staff actually has.
Freddie Galvis is having great. Maikel Franco, they're playing well.
I mean, all these guys that you're naming are, I'm going to say decent players, but
Decent players.
now that we're on this discussion, I kind of did a little research, and I went back to the 2013 draft,
Mhm.
and I just did a little deep dive. So the Phillies drafted J.P. Crawford with the 16th pick.
Mhm.
J.P. Crawford, I agree, he's not a bad player. However, these were the guys that were drafted after J.P. Crawford: Tim Anderson, Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Jeff McNeil, Mike Yastrzemski, and Luke Voigt were all drafted after J.P. Crawford, and they're all better than J.P. Crawford. Tim Anderson might be one of the best. I'm sorry?
Tim Anderson's a great, you look at him,
He's
he struggled and then came up and
No,
started really playing well.
No, I get that, but my point is I'm looking at it. I kind of did this for a 5-year period. So 2014, Phillies drafted Aaron Nola. Okay, we'll get on to that discussion.
I'm just happy you're not telling me who Seattle drafted because I don't want to hear that.
I didn't look at that, but
thank you.
So
I just said thank you.
2014, Phillies drafted Aaron Nola. These were the guys that went after Aaron Nola: Michael Conforto, Gold Glove center fielder, star hitter; Trey Turner, Matt Chapman, Spencer Turnbull, who just threw a no-hitter with the Tigers; Alex Verdugo. Then they took Rhys Hoskins in the 5th round. Okay. Dylan Cease, Brandon Woodruff. Okay. Would you rather have Brandon Woodruff over Aaron Nola? I would.
I mean, I think, look, we know, and we've learned it especially because of our close watching of the Eagles. We know that you're always going to have missed draft picks.
Yeah,
right?
but every year with the Phillies.
It is. My bigger problem, though, it's not even the missed draft picks. Look, we know that J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf was a mistake. We know that. And we knew that going in. My bigger issue is when we give up on players too quickly. We in Philadelphia always talk about the fact that, they're just going to go on somewhere else and have a great career. It's because we're giving up on them, and we're holding them to these expectations that they are not meant for, right? So Maxey just had a good postseason run, right? A good postseason run. So what do we expect? Well, let's have an honest conversation here. The average Philadelphia fan over the last week expected him to start. He wasn't going to start. Korkmaz was the starter in the place of Danny Green. We expected him to come off the bench and score 15 to 20 points. He's a first-year player. He's 20 years old. He's not built into the offense. He happened to be ready the one game. Shane Milton had a great one game. He barely broke the rotation. We held these guys to these unreasonable expectations. So, as fans, we need to dial it back. I know we're starved. I know we're hungry. I know we want. I get it. I do. I understand it because I want championships. I want big name players. I want the Lindrosses, and I want the Ryan Howards, and I want the Allen Iversons, and I want all of these things. The problem is that those guys are rarities. So we need to stop putting these players, these average to good players, into the conversation of greatness and stop saying things like, this player is the next Magic Johnson. No, he's Tragic Johnson. Stop making comparison because he's a tall ball handler. We have got to stop doing this. And we are setting ourselves up for this depression that we build ourselves in every year. Look, Joel Embiid could easily have been a Greg Oden, right? It took him 2 years to get on the goddamn court. He could have easily been an Andrew Bynum who didn't show up. Instead, Joel Embiid's a damn good big man. Doesn't mean that he's the best big man in the game currently. Yes, he is. Because I don't give a shit what they say about Jokic. He's not. He's the best big man in the game currently. Does that put him on an elite historical level? No. We don't get to do that until the end of his career. It's the same conversation with the LeBron versus Michael Jordan. It's Michael Jordan. LeBron hasn't finished his career yet for them to hold the two together. We have to stop, in Philadelphia especially, because we are hurting ourselves. Because what's going to happen, right? The next things we have to look forward to are the long-ass summer of Philadelphia Phillies games where it's going to be, oh, well, Aaron Nola's not an ace. You're right, he's not an ace. Zach Wheeler's the ace of this team. Okay, until he needs Tommy John surgery because he has to pitch all these innings at 100 miles an hour because, well, Philadelphia fans want to see him. Okay, Segura. Well, let's give up on Gene Segura. Gene Segura is one of the best hitters on the team right now. Don't give up on Gene Segura. You may not like the guy, but don't give up on him. Alec Boehm's the next Scott Rowland. No, he's not. He's a young player. You have to stop doing this. Let them have their career.
I think Jason brought up the drafts of the Phillies. The Phillies held on way too long to guys like Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley and Ryan Howard. And there was no trade value. So then they tried to tear it up and they tried to hit on these, rebuild. And there's plenty of teams that have tried to, rebuild. And you take a case like the Houston Astros. They drafted guys like George Springer, Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman. They had some misses in there, but there were some hits. With the Phillies, where are their hits?
Zero hits.
Dominic fucking Brown.
Wait, Chip, but this is what I'm getting at. 2016, they took Mickey Moniak. They could have had Kyle Lewis, who won the A. Kyle Lewis.
Right. And 2016, right? You just said 2016, right? They drafted Mickey Moniak. This is a great point.
Dude,
how quickly did we just give up on Mickey Moniak?
Mickey Moniak sucks. He's never going to be great.
He does. But he was being anointed as the next superstar of the Philadelphia Phillies organization.
Adam Hazley, they drafted in 2017. They could have had Nate Pearson, Trevor Rogers, who's going to win a Cy Young if it weren't for DeGrom.
DeGrom is a robot. Stop it.
Yeah, but my point is the Phillies drafts are inept for where they drafted. There was so many other players they could have drafted after, and Johnny hit on it. The Astros, they drafted great. Yeah, they missed on some guys, but they also drafted studs. We had a chance to build this team.
Remember the Sixers. Look at the Sixers, right? You're talking about drafting again. We drafted Jaleel Okafor. He's a bum. You drafted Nerlens Noel. He's a bum. These are players. So, again, you're not always going to hit on your draft picks. So, for these teams that rely year in and year out on their draft picks making a night and day difference, you have to stop. So, now what you decided to do as the Philadelphia 76ers is you settled in on Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons as your 1 and 2. These are the guys you're going to build a franchise around. Okay, but if Ben Simmons refuses to grow as a player, you have to move on. That's what the Philadelphia Eagles just did. They saw that this guy refused to move as a player, move up as a player, refused to listen to coaching, so they moved on from him. Now, Jalen Hurts may or may not be the guy. We don't know. But I am sitting here on June 21st at 9:38 telling you I will absolutely refuse to anoint Jalen Hurts the next franchise superstar quarterback, no matter what he does this year. If he has a great season, cool. Give him another one. If he has a dog crap season, cool. We have 3 first-round draft picks. You have got to stop anointing these players. It is not fair to them. It is not fair to ourselves. It's not fair to these teams. It is not fair. And we are passionate people. That's what you hear, right? I am a passionate fan. But at some point, we have got to stop being stupid. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid that this guy, that Ben Simmons, is the greatest thing since Allen Iverson. No, the fuck he's not. Allen Iverson is a Hall of Famer. He might be good enough to be considered a Larry Hughes, but Larry Hughes at least shot the goddamn ball. Maybe he's good enough to be considered Eric Snow. Eric Snow got to pass the ball to Allen Iverson. You have got to stop anointing these players. Stop it.
Wow. I'm loving these rants, man. I agree with you.
I'm not happy.
Yeah, but Chip, I agree with you. I guess the point that I'm making is I agree that you can't and you must slow down and slow our rolls on anointing players. But I'm also, you and I and Johnny will all agree. The main reason why the Phillies are so bad right now, still to this day, and why they're the definition of mediocrity is because they can't draft. And they can't not only – wait, you said something earlier that was very important. A, they can't draft, and B, they don't develop the players that they do draft.
No. Think about it.
So-
Rhys Hoskins, when Gabe Kapler was the coach, and, Gabe Kapler's had all this success because he's now in San Francisco. They're not like us out in San Francisco. They've got their nice little splash pond out in right field, and,
and they're winning.
But they're winning because it's a different environment. Gabe Kapler is a California kind of guy. We needed a coach like Girardi, but the problem is that nobody's going to be successful here when all you're constantly doing is undoing the previous coach's problems. So let's go organization by organization, right? Brett Brown developed players to an extent. Where was his failings? In a professionalism of a team, that killer mentality. So what did Doc Rivers have to spend all of his time doing? Developing a killer mentality. And it failed last night. What is Sirianni going to have to do this whole season? He's going to have to develop players that Doug Peterson refused to develop. And Doug Peterson came in and had to purge the team of all of the Oregon Eagles that were put on the squad. Because that's what Chip Kelly decided to do. You do the same thing with the Flyers. You do the same thing with the Phillies. Girardi is undoing all of the analytics stuff. Think about Rhys Hoskins alone. He had to literally take Rhys Hoskins' swing and break it apart. Fuck these launch angles. Fuck the analytics. Go up there, hit the goddamn ball. And Rhys Hoskins is having a decent season. Decent. Go ahead, Johnny.
As looking at the Phillies as an outsider, non-Phillies fan, you can kind of take a look at what they're doing, and I'll compare it to Seattle because Seattle and the Phillies are the top two teams with the longest playoff droughts. If you really look at it, and Seattle's is double the Phillies. But the way you look at it, so Seattle decided to blow it up and tear it all down, which they never did before. They would always do what the Phillies are doing right now and sign a few high-priced free agents and try and win that way, pluck here, pluck there. Maybe you get a guy off waivers. Maybe you get a Rule 5 draft pick that does well. Maybe you draft one or two players that, develop into something. And when it doesn't work, you get the product on the field that shows it. Yes, Bryce Harper is a great player, but the thing is, he leaves Washington and Washington goes and wins a World Series. So, I understand Bryce Harper is a very, very good player, but also there's a very, very talented player for the Angels that spent one playoff in his career. His name's Mike Trout, probably one of the best players in. You don't win with one player. You win with a team. To be able to build somebody that does, a defense that can. You get guys that get on base, that walk, that don't strike out, that put the ball in play. You get on base, you move the runner over, a guy that can steal a base. There's a lot that go into it. And if you look at the Phillies now, Gene Segura's hitting over 300. The guy can't play a lick of defense. The guy doesn't have much hustle. There's issues, and there's a reason he's played on so many teams in his career.
Yep.
There's problems there. And you look at the other players, Moniak and Hazley and Maton. You have all these guys. You're trying to rush all these guys because you're hoping they turn into, Jimmy Rollins came up through the system. Pat Burrow came up through the system. You had guys like Chase Utley come up through the system. Ryan Howard, Carlos Ruiz. You don't get that every single time.
But I think the thing that you just said is really important. Those names that you just mentioned, the Nick Matons, the Luke Williams, right? All these guys, they come up, they have a little bit of success, and what do? Why are they not playing every day? Why is Nick Maton not your starting second baseman when Segura's out? Why is Luke Williams not playing every day? He's just because they're still young. They are not everyday players yet. Let them be developed.
Luke Williams was drafted in 2015 in the same draft as Cornelius Randolph, who hasn't even made the major league team. Right. Cornelius Randolph is yet to step foot on the team. He was drafted.
Luke Williams hit a walk-off home run. Yeah, but therefore he's going to be great, right?
Well, let's see who was drafted that draft. Trent Grisham from San Diego. Mike Soroka from Atlanta. He's an ace. Ke'Bryan Hayes, the third baseman. This is my point. Scott Kingery was drafted that draft, and he sucks.
I'm looking at the depth chart for the Phillies. Luke Williams is listed as a player Let me tell you, he is, according to the PhiladelphiaPhillies.com depth chart, first base, second base. Hold on. Third base, shortstop, left field, center field, and right field. Luke Williams is listed on the depth chart for every single position on the Philadelphia Phillies other than catcher and pitcher. But you're right. He's going to hone in on his craft.
They did the same thing with Scott Kingery. Scott Kingery should have been a second baseman. If you brought him up, when they did bring him up, then they should have let him be a second baseman, not make him this super utility guy that he wasn't. That totally screwed him up. And you gave him all that money. That was Matt Klentak. Matt Klentak and Andy McPhail are the two biggest buffoons this town has ever seen, because everyone wanted to trash Ed Wade. But let's face it, Ed Wade was responsible for drafting guys like Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley. And then Ed Wade was also responsible for Houston's, World Series, because he drafted those guys. Look at what Matt Klentak and McPhail did from 2013, like I was saying, till now. I mean, Alec Boehm, I got to be honest, I think he might be the first hit. But you're right. We anointed him right away. And
might be.
I said he could be.
You're right. That's what I'm saying.
But you don't know. But the problem is, it's harder in baseball. But if you, I don't want to go cross-pollination on sports, but let's go over to hockey real quick.
Sure.
With the Flyers. The Flyers, we've been told, oh my God, Ron Hextall did such a great job with these drafts. But I got to be honest, the Flyers have kind of had a similar path with the Phillies as far as their drafts. Their drafts, they've had a lot of high draft picks, which usually in hockey, higher draft picks do pan out. They might not pan out year one.
These guys are coming from international play. These guys have played at international levels.
Yeah, okay. So in 2014, the Flyers drafted Travis Sanheim. Okay, nice player. Nice. He's not a number one defenseman. Maybe he's a number two. Guess who was drafted that same draft after him? David Pastrnak. Wouldn't you like to have him on the Flyers right now?
Yeah,
it's every year. This is what I'm saying. I know that you're saying, you're right.
It's every year. And as fans, the fact that we have the Phillies to look forward to for the next 3 or 4 months.
When are we going to draft a stud ever? I don't see it.
All right, wait, hold on, Johnny. Go ahead, Johnny. I'm going to need you to play judge and jury on this one here. Go ahead.
All right, so the last tidbit is you look at a team that signed a very talented player to a huge contract in Manny Machado to the Padres. But if you look at the Padres team, before, free agency of this offseason, adding and trading for, a few guys, the thing with the Padres are they had a guy like Fernando Tatis Jr. They had other pieces on the team, but they were able to trade for this pitching staff and these players that they needed to somewhat assemble and connect the dots, because they had a farm system and they had players that were valuable. Yeah, they were prospects. Doesn't mean they're going to pan out. Like, if you look at Seattle, I think they're like either top 2 or 3 in the whole entire majors in their prospects, because the prospect is so deep. Doesn't mean all of those players are going to be able to be up and be stars. That's not going to happen. It never happens. But if you're able to go into the next year, have a couple of these young guys start looking well, package a couple guys to get these veterans that are very highly productive to be able to build your roster, it's key, because, you can develop, bring up the talent, then you add a piece here and a piece there to connect the puzzle, to finish the puzzle. It's what they did in 08. And the thing is, the Phillies, unfortunately, they're a little bit of a ways away. If they don't get this,
they're a ways away.
Right.
They are a ways away.
They're not a little way. They're a way.
Here. They don't have any pitchers in the farm system. They don't have any players in the farm system. They're a ways away. And I know if Matt was watching, he would say they're 5 years away from being 5 years away.
They need to blow it up.
So a couple of months ago, this is going to be our final segment because the last time I had you on the show, Jason, you and I had a little debate. So I'm going to move people around real quick. Johnny, you're going to play the moderator here. Okay?
Okay.
Last time I had Jason really on the show, we had a debate about one Aaron Nola and his aceness. Just so you know, I win. So it doesn't really matter what Johnny says. I know I win. Aaron Nola is not an ace. Now, reverting back to my argument all these months ago, it was that not every team has an ace. Every team has a number one pitcher, but not every team has an ace. There are only 5 aces in Major League Baseball at any given time in my mind. And DeGrom is on a whole nother fucking planet. Aaron Nola isn't even this team's number one pitcher. Okay? Jason, you had some thoughts a couple months ago. Are you ready to tell me that I'm right?
I did, and I already told you this, so you kind of knew that it was coming.
You didn't do it live on air. You didn't do it live on air.
Well, I'm telling you live on air, and I can tell the audience. I got to kind of agree with Chip on this now. I have to agree, and I will say that I was wrong because I guess what it came down to was me and Chip had different ideas of what an ace is.
Sure.
However, at this point in time, I'm not even ready to say that Aaron Nola would be an ace under my original assessment because Zach Wheeler is definitely the better of the two talents, and I am willing to admit that. I think Aaron Nola still could be an ace.
Exactly. It goes back to the whole argument that we're having. He could be. You know, the problem is that, let's see, he was drafted in 2014. He's a young enough guy. He doesn't throw overly hard. He's 28 years old. He could develop there, but as Phillies fans, as Philadelphia fans, what did we do? Oh, well, he finished second in the Cy Young. He's the greatest pitcher that Phillies organization has ever had. He belongs on a wall somewhere. He's a top-tier talent. His last 3 games, 5 innings pitched against Atlanta, 7.2 innings pitched versus New York, which is ace-like, 2.1 innings pitched versus San Francisco. You go all the way back to his last 7 starts. He averages just over 5 innings pitched. That is not an ace. That is not an ace.
But you have to look at it so I'm going to throw a little counterpoint to you.
See, you should have said throw a curveball because we're talking baseball. Curveball.
I was going to throw a curveball, but the spider tack, the ball stuck to my finger. But if you look at 28 years old, yes, he's had a little bit of a rough stretch. But when a pitcher has a rough stretch, you don't denounce them as being, high quality, high top pitcher. Because if you look at Zach Wheeler back when he was 27 years old, a number of years ago, his ERA was 5.21.
Yes.
He's not an ace. If you
No,
want
he's
to go
not.
for that.
No, he's not an ace. That's what I'm saying. Not every team has an ace.
No.
Every team has a number one pitcher, but there are only 5 maximum aces in Major League Baseball at a time.
Every team has an ace.
They have a number one pitcher. They have a guy that you would give the ball to during game 1. That's who they have.
Which is considered their ace. It's their number one. What is an ace?
It's their ace.
See?
It's their number one. But to be considered an ace is a difference of a wording.
Johnny,
you cannot say, this is where we have an issue.
That was our same reason why we had the disagreement, because we had different views of what an ace is. And my point was that, and during that argument, he brought up, DeGrom. And I said, I was the one at that point, but I mean, you agree now, but obviously you agree then. But DeGrom is in another stratosphere of stratospheres now. I mean, did you see what he did today? He broke Bob Gibson's record
Oh, that old chestnut.
12 straight outings of like, one run or less. I mean, the guy is legitimately putting up historic numbers this year. Like,
you're talking about a guy with DeGrom who, here we go, we're talking and comparing, is on a Nolan Ryan level tear.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I think he's on a he's on a Bob Gibson level tear.
Bob
Nolan Ryan
Gibson.
never had the type of ERA and the type.
No,
of
he's on Bob Gibson level.
type
Yeah, exactly. Bob Gibson was probably during that 8-year stretch probably the most dominant pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball.
Right.
So DeGrom is right there right now.
And if you want to compare it to somebody more of, not going that far back, but Pedro back in the late 90s,
Yeah,
it was absolutely, absolute killer every single night.
You hit it on the head.
yeah, exactly. Drew, I'm answering your question. I don't know, because I don't know if there is 15 wins behind the pitcher, right? So Zach Wheeler is going to give you 15 quality starts. Aaron Nola is going to give you about 12 quality starts at this point, from here on out. I mean, he's 5-4. I don't know if Aaron Nola's got 5 more wins in him. Right now, you can't tell. So again, going back to this whole ace conversation, you can't tell me, and I know, Johnny, you're going to try, that DeGrom with his 1-point minuscule ERA can be
0.50. It's not 1. It's 0.50, dude.
Excuse me. I apologize. He's not even out of one. He's in the same conversation and the same tier system as Aaron Nola with his 4.22 ERA. You can't. Those guys are not in the same league. He might be the best pitcher on the Phillies, but that's like being the dullest crayon in the box, or the sharpest crayon of dull crayons in a box. I don't know how I want to phrase that here. But the fact of the matter is that, like, I could go pitch for the Phillies, and maybe I'll be the ace.
Like I said, Chip, I'm here, and I am saying that I was wrong. I was. But
maybe he'll turn it. Maybe he'll change it. We don't know, but we have got to stop saying that these guys coming in because they have one exceptional season deserve to be placed in this supreme category. They don't. His numbers, the rest of the – like, I'm literally looking at his career stats. So his first year, 3.5. You're right. His second year, 4.78. Next year, 3.5. Then we have the year where it was up for the Cy Young, 2.3. I'm just looking at ERAs. Then you have 3.8, a 3.2, and now he's got a 4.2. His career ERA is a 3.5. In a hitter's league, okay. But if you look at those same numbers by DeGrom has consistently been an absurd. Garrett Cole, Clayton Kershaw. At one point, these guys were all considered, if not now, aces in Major League Baseball.
Well, they're elite.
They had it for one season.
Well, they're elite aces. I mean,
elite.
I mean, I believe that you can look at pitchers in a similarity to quarterbacks. You have your elite tier, then you have your great tier, then you have your good tier, then you have your middle, and then your bust. I mean, so you have the same with pitching as you do with quarterbacks. So I would, if you want to go quarterbacks, Jake DeGrom is your Pat Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean?
Pat Mahomes is getting – so look. Pat Mahomes is an excellent, exceptional quarterback.
It's early.
It's early. He could go the other way because remember, Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl early in his career. What has he done since then? He's been a great regular season quarterback. He's been an MVP caliber quarterback. He's been a postseason bum.
Well,
Trent Dilfer won the Super Bowl. Brian Johnson won the Super Bowl. Nick Foles won the Super Bowl.
Chip, I'm telling you, like, the next time I'm on this show with you, I'm going to have my own rant like you about the Phillies as opposed to the Sixers. Because
I just wait.
Well, no, I feel the same freaking way about the Phillies. I'm so fucking fed up with this team. Like, you don't understand. I can't even watch them anymore, and that's not me. because I've always been a baseball guy. Out of all the four sports, baseball's been my number one love. And I can't even watch this team. And I know we're talking about Nola, but how about we talk about Harper? Nobody's saying anything about Bryce Harper.
You had an epic Twitter thread today. Go ahead, because I'll do it. Wait, hold on. You have earned even the spotlight for this, Jimmy John. Wait for it. Go. Do your Harper thing.
Well, I got called out for it too.
Nope,
some guy came at me about it, saying, you're wrong. He had, 99 RBIs and 34 home runs in the first year, and then last year in a shortened year he had 13 home runs, and then now this year he's hurt. Listen, dude, you gave this guy $330 million. Like, to me, I'm expecting an elite player. Like, for $330 million, he should be performing a lot better than he is.
I agree.
Honest to God, this year he's disappeared. And, they're saying, because he was hit in the head. I mean, I'm not buying that, dude. That was a while ago. I mean, maybe in the beginning when he first came back from the injury, but what is he doing?
Johnny signed off just to invite us to be Mariners fans.
Definitely not going to be a Mariners fan. But
no, not since Griffey left. Griffey and Jay Bruner were my guys, Randy Johnson, but I appreciated those players. I am a Phillies fan. I love the Phillies, but you're absolutely right. Like, Bryce Harper has been mediocre this season. And my favorite thing, if you go to the Philadelphia Phillies home screen, they're like, vote for these players to make the all-star team, right? Send the Phillies to the Midsummer Classic. And it's JT, Bryce, Gene Segura, and Rhys Hoskins. Why?
I mean, JT's probably the only one I would even consider.
JT I would consider because he is still the best catcher in baseball, but this season, he's been hurt. Gene Segura is not the best second baseman in baseball, but he's having a good season.
Well, I think we can both agree that the Major League Baseball All-Star thing is a joke. All All-Star games are a joke. The way that the way they're picked is what I'm getting at. It's all fan voting and.
So the All-Star games across the board, I always enjoy more the games that go around them. So, like, I watch the Home Run Derby every year. I watch the NBA All-Star Skills Competition every year. I watch the hockey competitions every year. If baseball wanted to do like a pitcher accuracy game, I would watch the shit out of that, or like a test your gun speed radar, like the things that go around the concourse. I would watch the shit out of that. Football used to do this really cool like NFL quarterback competition. The guys would run around in the shorts, and Peyton Manning dodging obstacles even though his feet were glued to the ground. I watched the shit out of that. You know what I don't watch? The actual All-Star games.
It's pathetic. You're right. And like I said, I'm very disgusted with the Phillies. We could do a whole show on that, which we will, I'm sure. In general, I think the main point that I got from you, and I have to totally agree, is that we gotta put on the brakes when we're with our love of these players and anointing them as the next coming of like Carson Wentz. Oh, he's the next.
Because it does two things. It does a lot more than that, but two things specifically. So when you take a player like this, and we'll go back to our center point of the night and Ben Simmons and the bullshit that he put us through. And again, one of the main points of the night is Ben Simmons, he got to go. Right? I'm done with Ben Simmons. But when you do this, when you anoint these players, and he's the second coming of. Number one, you're putting an absurd amount of unfair pressure on these guys, especially when it's probably not going to happen because those guys are the exception. The second thing you're doing is you are tarnishing the legacy of greatness that the player that you are comparing him to left behind. So by wishing them to be this other thing, you're not appreciating them for what they are. And that's wrong. I know for myself, like this season, at this Eagles season, I am not going to be like, oh, well, Jalen Hurts is the starter from here on out. He's great. He's fantastic. I'm going to give him a whole season. I'm going to give him a big sample size. That's what we said last offseason, that 4 games wasn't enough.
Shit, I'm going to give him 3 seasons.
Right. If he gets 3 seasons, I'll give him 3
If he
seasons.
has it, yeah. If the Eagles do, I mean, you're right. He might be gone. But same thing with Devonta Smith. I mean, obviously he's going to have high expectations. You know what I'm saying? Like, number one, best college receiver in football last year. I mean, and we got him. But, how's he going to be on this team? Because, like you said, it's a team sport. It's not just a player. And obviously, I agree, man. Ben Simmons, he's got to go. And I like I said, I'm very disappointed because I did nothing but, protect that guy and stick up for him. And, he let me down. He let us all down.
Yeah. Maybe he's just a righty. Maybe he's right-handed and, nobody's told him in all of these 25 years of life. Maybe somebody should have that conversation with him. Because that left hand fucking sucks. I'm a lefty. I can tell you I'm embarrassed to be in the same hand category as him.
You're embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed. Jason, promote yourself a little bit because we're going to wrap up. So, Jason, what do you got coming up? Talk about your podcast a little bit. Talk to the people. What you got?
Well, yeah, so the podcast is called Sports and Metal. We run pretty much every Thursday at 8 o'clock. A couple, occasionally we have to change the time and date to the Friday, depending on work schedules. But my co-host is Aaron Savage. You can check him out on Twitter. Sports and Metal. We have, we're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and it's all at Sports and Metal. Basically, we talk about the two things in the name, sports and metal music, but it doesn't have to be metal. We actually had a keyboardist on our most recent show. If you haven't checked it out, his name's Greg Fox. He's actually in a band called Renaissance Rock Orchestra. It's actually basically a symphonic band, and they play all kinds of stuff. And
Nice.
Hey Chip, I know you're in a band, so I'd like to have you on. I haven't had you yet, so
Let's go.
you're going to be coming up soon. But yeah, it's a good time, and like I said, we, Aaron and I have been best friends for 4 years, and we got great chemistry. So check us out, Chip. As always, I appreciate you letting me come on.
Dude, I love having you.
Anytime.
I love having you. I know I loved having Johnny. I know Johnny was having some.
I feel bad. I know. I enjoyed Johnny's conversation because I called Johnny like he's always like, the responsible one with his takes. He's always got to reel us in because we're always so emotional. But
I am not emotional. I'm emotional.
But
Passionate.
But Johnny's right when he said, as Philly fans, we get all mad about it, and we could be worse. We could be, the Seattle Mariners. So, that's pretty much all I got. Like I said, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, man, I loved having you. So real quick, we'll put the bills again. Statement Games links in the link in the show link. Fun free twist on fantasy sports. Oddsjam.com. Use their arbitrage calculator to not lose money. Again, it's all in there. AATbirds.com/shop all of our newest designs. We're going to have to get some other ones up because the Sixers are done. So that's fun. 99jersey.com is partnered with AAT Birds. Code AATBirds20 for a 20% discount at checkout. And manscaped.com where your balls will thank you. AAT Birds 20% off and free shipping at checkout. Adam, I don't know, man. You waited till the very end. Who's hell hey? Because apparently they are very excited for all of your wonderful points. My man, Jason. But Adam had the comment of the night here. At least we're not Cowboys fans.
Oh,
At least we're not Cowboys fans.
that's the perfect comment to leave on.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to take it all the way back. A couple months ago, we started playing. There's a cover band in the area, Go Go Gadget. They did a remake on the Nobody Likes Us, We Don't Care situation. Clearly, we do care. We're pissed off. I'm going to end it with some music instead. So, again, we do this every Monday night. Don't forget to tune into the other great nights of programming. Tuesday, Fantasy Golf and Gambling Show. Wednesday, all about the Birds. Eagles Weekly Report. We're going to get back to some Eagles talk. Thursday night, we now have a soccer show where we talk about the Union. I watched that last week. I even learned some stuff about soccer because that is not my forte at all. Although I may have to because they might be the best team to watch in the city.
I watched it too.
It was so good.
It was awesome.
So good.
Those two guys they're naturals.
Yeah. I like hearing British things. Frankie Stesick said, how we doing, Jace?
What's up, brother? What's going on, Frankie?
We got the people's checking in. I love it.
The hockey guys. We'll have to talk hockey.
We did a whole hockey thing, man. We're gonna have to bring you back on. We'll talk hockey again and how Carter Hart could be good, but we'll get there. So again, make sure you're tuning in, liking, subscribing, sharing out. We appreciate all of it. As we end every show on the All About the Birds Network, we end it with a Go Birds. And as we end every show here, Monday nights, Chips and Dish, we're out of beer, so we're out of here. Peace out. Here's Go Go Gadget.
Peace out.